The House in the Sky by Robert D. Sansuki. Pictures by Will Clay. Once upon a time, in the old people's time, there were two brothers who lived near each other in shacks at the edge of a jungle. Neither brother liked to work, but Rabbi was clever and always got his family plenty of peas, yams, flour, and butter. Buki was greedy and didn't have much sense. He and his family were always hungry. Buki's wife said,
"Why don't you go look for food? You can't give your children nothing to eat, but Rabbit always has plenty to eat."
"Well, I'm gonna ask my bro where he got all that food,"
said Buki. That evening he stopped Rabbi at the jungle's edge and said,
"Your family's always got something to eat. I never got nothing. How is that?"
Rabbi said,
"Get up early in the morning and I'll show you where to find all kind of food."
Buki said,
"All right, bro. You come at sunup.
He went home to his hungry wife and children and said,
Tomorrow I bring you all the peas and rice and butter I can."
All night Buki waited for dawn, but his insides were so empty they grumbled and growled and wouldn't let him sleep. He got up and said,
"This night don't look like it ever gonna end, but I can't get no food until my bro come at sunup."
Then he had the kind of idea that comes to someone with a head as empty as his belly. He went up the hill east of Rabbi's house and lit a big old bonfire. He climbed on top of Rabbi's house and shouted,
"Cock-a-doodle-doo!"
so his brother would think that the rooster was crowing at dawn. Rabbi leaned out his window and said,
"Buki, what happening?"
"Aren't you ready to go find food?"
asked Buki.
"The sun's coming up and the rooster been crowing a long time."
"I don't see no sun, just a fire on the hill.
Said Rabbi.
And I didn't hear no rooster, but I sure heard you. Bro, you're lucky I'm so tired I will knock you down right now. Put out that fire and go back to bed. I get you when the sun come up for true."
Rabbi closed his shutters with a loud bang. All night, Buki watched for dawn. As quick as the day was clean, he put on his hat, took the biggest sack he could find, and ran out to meet his brother. Then Rabbi led him deep into the jungle. All the time, Rabbi used his machete to chop, chop, chop at the weeds and bushes. They came to a place where there was just some grass. High up was a big old house sitting on a cloud. While they were looking, the house floated down to the ground. Out of the door came 3 spirit folk, a mama, a papa, and a little girl. They were giant-sized and covered with hair. Their hands had claws and their feet were backward. Behind them trotted a mean-looking dog with red eyes. When the spirits went into the woods, the house rose back up into the sky. Rabbi said,
"There's plenty of food in that house. Those spirits got so much they never miss any."
"How do we get up there?"
asked Buki.
"I call that house down,"
said his brother. Then Rabbi sang,
"Mary come down so low, Mary come down so low, Mary come down so low, till you touch the ground."
Sure enough, that big old house dropped lower and lower until it sat on the grass. But when Buki tried to open the door, he found it locked tight.
"How we gonna get in?"
Buki asked. Rabbi said,
"Open Kabanja."
and the door opened wide. The brothers went into the house and the door slammed shut behind them. Then the house rose back up into the cloud. Inside they found shelves and cupboards and boxes and barrels filled with food. There was rice, flour, pork, sugar, butter, coffee, peas, coconuts, bananas, star apples, sweet and sour peppers, oranges, pawpaws, and so much more. Rabbi went to filling his sack with these things, but Buki was so greedy he started eating everything he could. Pretty soon, Rabbi asked,
"Bro, you ready to go?"
Buki said,
"I ain't started filling my sack."
"We got to go,
said Rabbi.
before those spirits get back."
Buki looked out one of the little windows and said,
"I don't see none of them coming. This food is so good, I got to fill my belly before I fill my bag."
"Ain't you ashamed to be so greedy?"
said his brother. Buki just took one mouthful of biscuit and another of potato bread. Then he reached for sweet cakes sitting on the big old stove. They were so hot he burned his mouth, but he ate them anyways.
"You never did have no sense, just greediness,"
said Rabbi. Then he sang softly,
Merry go down so low, merry go down so low, merry go down so low, till you touch the ground.
When the house reached the grass, Rabbie said,
Open cabanja.
and then the door opened. He left his brother and went home. Buki just kept gobbling down food while the door snapped shut and the house flew back up into the cloud. When he couldn't eat any more, Buki began to feel sleepy. He stretched out on the bed just for a nap, but he slept away most of the day. Near evening, he woke up and said,
I better fill my sack and get home before those spirits find me.
He began stuffing his bag with every bit of peas, rice, pork, and olive he could find. He couldn't cram any more into his sack, and he put as much butter as he could under his hat. Suddenly, the house dropped to the ground. Buki realized that the spirits had come back. Quick as a wink, he threw the sack of food in the closet and hid himself under the bed. The hairy spirit folk came in with their dog, but when the house went back up in the sky, the spirits made the big old dog sit on the cloud outside the door. The mama and papa spirits put their little girl on the bed that Buki was hiding under. The papa spirit lit a fire in the stove, and the mama cooked dinner. Then she brought a plate of food to her little girl. It smelled so good that Buki, under the bed, got hungry all over again. He reached up his hand from under the bed and said,
Hey, give me some. Give me some.
The little spirit girl always did what she was told, so she gave Buki some of her food. But this only made him want more, so he kept saying,
Hey, give me some more. Give me some more.
Now the girl's mama started to wonder how a little girl could eat so much. She said,
That's a lot of food you're eating. It's for me,
said the girl.
Well, that's all right.
Her mama said. She gave her another plate heaped with good things to eat. The girl gave this to greedy Buki, who kept saying,
Give me some more.
Me want some more.
the little girl said.
No, you can't have no room for no more. It's not for me on the bed.
The girl told her.
It's for me under the bed.
What?
Cried the mama and the papa together. They looked under the bed and saw Buki hiding there. So they dragged him into the kitchen and stood him up alongside the big stove.
You been thieving our food?
Asked the papa.
No,
Said Buki.
I just came in for a rest. I hide 'cause I got scared you'd think I'd been thieving, but I ain't got no food of yours.
Now while he was telling him this, all the butter he hid under his hat melted from the stove heat. It ran down his head and on his shoulders.
You've been thieving my butter.
Cried the papa. He grabbed Buki, saying to his wife,
Boil up a pan of water and we'll dash it on this thief.
But Buki, covered with butter, twisted out of the spirit's hand. Then he ran around the big old house looking for a way out. But every time he got near the front door, he forgot the words to make it open. He kept shouting.
Open the banja! Open the banja!
The little girl, who was watching all this, said,
All you gotta say is open cabanja.
So Buki cried.
Open cabanja!
The door flew wide open, but the spirit's big old red-eyed dog was waiting outside. He chased after Buki until Buki fell right off the edge of the cloud. Down, down Buki fell, until he landed on top of a banana tree. Buttery and hurting, Buki climbed down and started for home. Rabbie, sitting on his porch smoking a pipe, saw his brother. He just shook his head and said,
Too greedy.
When Buki's little boy and girl saw him coming, the butter gleaming in the last rays of sunlight, they shouted.
Pa's here, and he's shining with gold.
But when Buki's wife saw him, she made him climb into the hot tub of water. She scrubbed him so hard to get the butter off him that he felt like he might as well have just stayed in the sky and let the spirits scalp him. The next day, Rabbie told Buki,
Those spirits moved that house where I can't find it.
Don't matter.
Buki said.
I've been thinking it one bad idea to go thieving other folks' food.
Bro, this is the first thinking I ever hear from you.
Said Rabbie.
Maybe you're right.
Then they started growing their own food. It was hard work, but they always had enough to eat. The end.